Taking us. Okay, welcome everyone. I am so excited today to have with me Jodi Flynn. And her business is called Women Taking the Lead. And she's an executive coach, executive leadership coach, podcaster, author, and speaker. And organizations hire Jodi to support their women leaders to develop the skills needed to grow into and thrive into senior leadership. Welcome, Jodi. How are you today?
Good, Kavita. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me here. It's amazing. I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm great. Yes, I'm excited. I've been excited, looking forward to this for a
Yes,
while. Yeah.
we definitely aligned on this subject from the first time we talked. We are definitely advocates of women for sure. So,
Yes, definitely. Yes, and so before we go into our topic of,
Mhm.
how to get your company to sponsor you for coaching, I would love to hear about you. So tell me first, we talked about how you help companies and were advocates of women. What had got you started doing this? Why are you doing this?
Yes. So,
Mhm,
high level version is I have my bachelor's in psychology. So, I've
mhm,
always been fascinated in how we
mhm,
grow, how we develop, how we, can hone and tweak things about ourselves so that we can get better and better results. And have always been on a journey of like, how do I be my best? How do I bring forth my own unique talents, skills, passions, and really bring that to the world?
mhm,
And I, found myself in mutual fund operations, just at the entry level. Won't get into what brought me there because it wasn't
mhm,
how I trained in college, but I was there and I'm definitely one who's like, I'm going to make the most of this. And
mhm,
I am also a bit I have some type A tendencies. I have the perfectionism and people pleasing going on. And so being in this environment, was just driven to, I'm going to do my best. And I found myself in that industry getting promoted very rapidly. I was promoted 5 times in 6 years and was in a position where I was in charge of corporate quality. So we were
mhm,
being reviewed internally and externally. We were benchmarked against other companies in our industry. And I was overseeing the programs to make sure that like we were top, right? Like
mhm,
we were at the very top, which is, you know, part of my thing. And then and that work involved a lot of coaching, guiding, bringing out the best in others,
mhm,
really getting at what inspires people to do their best work and bring their best selves. And also work as cohesive units, as a team. And I loved it. I loved it.
mhm,
It was like my dream job until I started feeling like I could be doing more with more
mhm,
people out in the world. Like the job was great, but I started, looking out the window like, is this it? Is this what I'm going to be doing for the next 25 years? And I discovered coaching. I started meeting other coaches and just they stood out in a crowd to me. They were just very present. They listened, they asked
mhm,
great questions, and they intrigued me. And I started doing my research and I thought, I think this is it for me. I think this is what I want to be doing. So after a couple of mergers and acquisitions in the
mhm,
industry, I found myself actively getting trained as a coach and then
mhm.
starting my own business. And, as any coach can attest to, there's this evolution in your business where you're
Yes.
discovering, like, okay, who am I meant to serve? What am can I bring to the table? Who can I help and what can I help them with? And I have found myself, as you described now,
Mhm,
realizing, okay, women leaders are absolutely my passion. And
mhm,
from my own journey, I found I'm really good at helping these women
mhm,
to stabilize, however you want to say it, stabilize or recover from their last
Yes.
promotion, however they
Mhm.
find themselves afterwards. Some people feel a little shaky after promotion. Some people
Mhm.
feel like maybe, oh no, like maybe I shouldn't have accepted this promotion. But
Right.
I help these women to stabilize and feel calm and confident once again in their leadership. And for
Mhm.
those who are interested and want to, help them prepare for the next promotion, because the next promotion's gonna come around, right? Like some opportunity is gonna become available. And so I help my clients in that stage, and I
Mm.
am loving it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loving it.
That sounds yeah, I mean, I can hear the passion when you talk about it, how excited you are about helping these women.
Mhm.
Because a lot of women, I'm sure, have some imposter syndrome, and it's like, "Can I do this?" It's like
Yeah.
that step when you take that brave step and the next level in
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, there's a little bit of, like, looking back and like, "Hmm, maybe that was easier. Why did I do this? I should maybe I should have no, this is not."
Right? And
So
from my own experience and hearing my clients talk about it, sometimes even though we may have experienced imposter syndrome in the past, and it may flare every now and again,
sure.
right?
Mhm.
Depending on what's going on, we might have that moment of like, like,
Mhm.
did they hire the right person? Did they put the right person in place? Can I do this? After a significant promotion, right? That promotion that, like, causes you to have to change how you lead, right? Where your
Mhm.
old strategies of leading don't work anymore and you need to adopt some new strategies. It can almost be like it grips you by the throat, the imposter syndrome, where
Yes.
you're like, and I know, especially one of my promotions, I didn't see it coming. Right? I was
Mhm.
excited. I was like, yes, this is amazing. They're
Mhm.
trusting me. I remember thanking the leaders who had made the decision. Thank you so much for putting your trust in me. You're not going to doubt it. I'm going to do a great job. And a month
Mhm.
in, I was like, oh my God, what did I sign myself up for? Because you never know
Yes, you don't
exactly
know.
what you're going to face, right? Even if
Mhm.
you have been trained, like, things that happen in the marketplace and in the industry, there are
Mhm.
always, curveballs and things that couldn't have been predicted. Nobody saw it coming. And then you find
Right.
yourself
Mhm.
being a leader, handling this curveball, and your team looking to you like, what do we do? Right.
Yes,
And,
yes, and how do you do that? Yeah.
right, right. And
Mhm.
so the imposter syndrome, yes, can be a big factor.
That's just and that's just part of it. There's, I'm sure, many more layers that you help your clients with. So, thank you for sharing the story and, what you're excited about doing and which women you help. And of course, there will be, I'll make sure that we have available your website so people can get in touch with you.
That'd be
Right.
wonderful. Thank you, Kavita.
So, yes, because I know that there's someone hearing this and they're like, oh, Jodi, I need to talk to Jodi. Right? She might be able to help me. So now transitioning to our topic.
Yes,
Okay. So what inspired you, because you've spoken about this topic before
I
on your
have.
podcast, and it's a topic that I've seen you post about. So what inspired you to do this, to talk about this?
Like a lot of things, my clients
Okay.
inspired a lot
Mhm.
of ideas, in my business. There's no better learning source for me than my
Sure.
own clients, and so just to give some context, there was a time in my business where I was coaching more, women who had small businesses, small teams, right?
Mhm.
And so they're the decision maker. They sign the checks, they make the decisions on where the
Mhm.
money goes in their business, and it was, professional development for them, and so
Mhm.
the conversations were pretty straightforward, pretty simple. It was, "Yes, no, is this worthwhile? What would be the benefits? How do we do this?"
Mhm.
Um Not that there aren't challenges there, but they were straightforward conversations. And, during that time, a trickle of women who were leaders within organizations were reaching out to me,
Mm,
and they were interested in paying for their own professional development.
right.
Because they either had the budget, or for them, it was an investment because they were working towards a promotion, right? That would be
Mhm.
financially beneficial to them. So they felt the investment in coaching to be able to get that promotion was well worth the investment. And so they would hire me and pay for their own coaching.
Yes.
And within the last year, I have been hired by women who initially the conversations, and I honestly can't remember if it was one of them or I asked the question first, but it was something that I had not considered before. But we found ourselves talking about, well, would the company pay for this?
Mm.
Because they were going to be it was a conversation around, like, the benefits that the company was gonna see as
Right.
a
Yeah.
result of this woman, getting coached, and I had that conversation with 3 clients last fall,
Mhm.
and all 3 of them got a yes from their
Okay.
company to pay for their coaching, and it was either for, most, if not all, of the cost of coaching was gonna be
Right.
covered, and, 3 in a row, that was pretty significant, and
Yes.
I found myself thinking, "How do I make this easier for other women?" Now, I think
Mhm.
part of the reason why these 3 women had such an easy time was because they didn't question, the
Yes.
worth to their companies to
Mhm.
do this, but I wondered, do all women know this? Because I didn't. Right,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've shared on my podcast when I discussed this very topic in an episode. In my career in mutual fund operations, like, yes, my company paid for me to have training and development, but it was training and development that was for everybody, right? It was
Mm.
like the same training that everyone in the company was going through, or all of the leaders in the company were going through. There was nothing specialized just
Mhm.
for me to be able to overcome the specific challenges I was having, and also that I was having as a woman leader.
Yeah.
And when I thought about it, I was like, if I'd asked, I think they would have said yes, if
Mhm.
I had made a case for it, but it didn't even occur to me. And so with that, I thought, "Okay, I need to get the word out there." And because the more I also talk to HR managers,
Mhm.
talent development leaders, there's money in budgets. Many companies have budgets for this type of
Yeah.
training, but
Mhm.
it's earmarked based on what the leaders or decision makers want their people to use it for, unless somebody asks for something specific.
Ah,
It's
yes.
it's it's one of those things where I think it's kinda like, we all have relationships where people are willing to help us or do things for us, but they
Mhm.
don't know what we need unless we ask for it.
Okay.
And once we ask, they're more than happy to help. And the same thing goes within organizations. The HR, talent development, and other leaders, they wanna support, they want their people to develop. They know the benefits the company will see if someone feels more confident and has more competencies as a
Mhm.
leader, but they won't know that there's this opportunity unless it's asked of them.
Right.
So that's the goal. That's the goal, is
That's
to
the
to
goal. Yeah.
empower women to ask for this type of training and coaching.
Mhm. Yeah, so just to reiterate some of the things you shared. So first, it's understanding that this coaching is benefiting your company. When a person receives coaching, their company benefits.
Yes.
Yes, and so that first kind of like that mindset of understanding that there is a benefit, and then the second piece is asking what you're talking about is HR or what else did you say? It
Oh,
should
talent development,
talent
if your
development,
company has
yes,
talent development or your own manager, you
or
can
your own
even
manager. Mm,
start there, right? And to put this in context, if somebody is already a leader in an organization, it means the company has faith in them, right? They
right.
saw something in them to
Mhm.
to offer them that opportunity to be a leader. And companies don't promote someone into a leadership position and think, "Okay, they're good. Set it and forget it. We'll just leave them here for the next 20, 30 years and
Right.
everything will be great," right?
Yes.
Like that's not even in their paradigm. You
Mhm.
know, companies put people in leadership positions in the hopes that they will grow and develop and will be able to, rise in leadership, over the course of time. And companies want their leaders to, be happy and feel fulfilled in
Mhm.
their role and that they're growing and there's opportunities for learning. So
Right.
I
Mhm.
like, and I say this just to kind of underscore there's fertile ground here for the conversation, right?
Right.
Like, I think
Mhm.
sometimes when, especially women, when we think about, I'm going to ask somebody for money, right?
Oh, oh, yeah. That's yeah.
Right? Like you
Mhm.
like we both of us were like,
Oh.
and I'm asking someone to trust me and to see me as worth the investment. That can
Mhm.
bring up a lot of stuff,
Yes, it
right?
can.
A
Yeah.
lot of story, a lot of conditioning. And
Mhm.
so like, my goal and our goal is to help women realize these conversations are normal, right? And they are a part of your growth and development, right? You will not, you know, uh, be faced with a decision maker or your manager who would ever think, no, this isn't worth it. Like it is worthwhile to them. They know it's worthwhile. It's really a question of, it's a conversation to have because it's dependent upon, is the money there?
Right.
Right? And can it be
Mhm.
utilized for this, or is there something else? So just case in point, someone reached out to me recently,
Mhm.
really, really wanted, to work together. She does want her company to pay for it. However, her company has just paid for an $8,000 certification for her this
Right.
year. So
Mhm.
she's like, "Okay, for this year, I've used up the training and development money earmarked for me, but
Mhm.
next year, like this'll be a strong possibility," which was a great conversation for her and I to have because I
Mhm.
was able to say to her, "Okay, in the meantime, here are some questions you can think about. Here's some,
Mhm.
I could offer her some resources to grow." So, but it wasn't that the company wouldn't be willing to invest in her. It was just no for now. As
Right.
opposed to a flat out no.
Right, and they had already invested in the certification program, so they're willing to invest, right,
Yes.
in the development. And so where would a person start? Where would a women leader, maybe she's just promoted or even wants to be, but kind of feels kind of stuck. That could be another reason to
Yes.
seek
Yes.
coaching. And so what would they start? How would they start this process?
Well, they'd start with, and you and I have kind of already done this, right?
Mhm.
Know that this is a huge benefit to your company, right?
Right.
Just
Mhm.
get that frame of mind. Like, you are not selfishly asking for this. You are
Mhm.
actually offering to do something that will be a benefit to your company. Yes, it's a
Right.
benefit for you as well, but it's a huge benefit for your company. And then I would say identify, if your company has money earmarked
Mhm.
for training and development. Many companies do. They get tax write offs for having money designated and spent on training and development of their employees. Then be clear, like, what is it you're specifically looking to develop? Right?
Okay.
Because you don't wanna, because I love going to conferences, I love going to seminars, I love coaching, but what am I looking to get? What is that thing I'm gonna bring back, get better at, that is going to be the
Mhm.
benefit to the company? So you wanna connect the dots between your development and how it's going to benefit your company. And then identify a coach or a training program that
Mhm.
is designed to help you develop in those areas. So collect
Right.
information on that coach and on that program. And then when you have that, like with that information, gather the costs, right? Like,
Mhm.
and identify the credibility of these programs too. So you've identified the coach or the program, gather their credibility. Like, so I'll use you as an example, Kavita. So if
Oh,
somebody
okay.
wants to work with you, right?
Uh-huh.
Instead of like hypothetical, let's
Mhm.
bring it down to like something very specific and real. Somebody's been listening to you and they really like no, like, you get them, you'll be able to help them, there's something specific that they wanna work on. So
Mhm.
they might go to your website
Yes.
and
Yeah.
see, like, okay, what credentials do you have? Are there any materials that you offer to be helpful? They might schedule a meeting with you and to
Right.
find out more about your coaching and the costs and what the program looks like. So they'll
Mhm.
gather all that information and say, okay, now I'm going to go to my decision maker, Kavita, and I'm
Yes.
going to have the conversation with them so that when they schedule this meeting and have this meeting with their decision makers or their leaders, they have the right frame of mind, right?
Mhm.
This is worth it. I'm worth it. It's worth it to the company. I
Yes.
know what I'm working on and I'm explaining that and I'm tying it to how it would benefit the company. And then
Right.
I tell them about Kavita and how, she works with her clients. This is her program. This is what her other clients have benefited from. These are her
Mhm.
credentials. This is the cost of the program. And then this is how much the company earmarks for training and development for each employee. Or, I mean, that in and of itself, that's a fantastic conversation. Now, if you aren't able to discover if your company has money earmarked for training and development, you can just make it an ask.
Yeah.
Would the company cover any or all of these costs so that I can do this coaching or
Right.
this training program?
The training program.
Yeah.
So a couple questions come to mind. One is, what would you say are just some examples of benefits that you can bring to company?
I would say, okay, so with the example of a woman who's been newly promoted, but she
Yeah.
hasn't been feeling like confident and like she's got everything under control. I would speak to that. I would say, ever since I've been promoted, I've taken a bit of a hit to my confidence. I'm
Okay.
still performing. But if I were to feel confident, right,
Mhm.
I would be able to communicate more clearly. I wouldn't second guess decisions.
Mhm.
I would be better able to ask the right questions, ask for help, and
Right.
get more support from my team. I'd also feel a little more relaxed about delegating,
Mhm.
because part of the reason I'm having a hard time delegating is because I want to make sure I've got everything under control. But with that confidence, I think I would be able to like let go of some of these tasks that I'm doing and then focus more strategically on the
Yeah.
long-term goals of the company.
Okay.
Right. So that's a conversation, you can definitely have with your manager. And then, your manager probably knows at this point,
Mhm.
that, okay, like you're doing well. Cause this is the thing. Most of the women who hire me and hire you, Kavita, they're incredibly talented. They're
Yes.
incredibly capable.
Mhm.
They are skilled. They do what it takes to deliver on the job.
Yes, that's
The
true. Yeah.
question is, at what sacrifice?
Mhm.
Right? What are they, because when we do things and we're not feeling confident about it, there's a hit that we take either to our physical well-being, our
Mhm.
mental well-being, our emotional well-being, our personal life. I often have
Yes.
clients when we're first starting to work together who say, I've had to sacrifice time with my family because I am feeling unconfident at work. So I'm spending more time at night and on the weekends
Right. Yeah.
going through my emails, preparing for meetings, and all of that. And so the more confident we feel, and then we,
Mhm.
our overall wellness is better, more time with our families, right? More relaxed at work, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
All of that stuff. And then we're ready for the next promotion as well when the time
Mhm.
comes, right? So our managers also want to make sure we're ready. Like, and even if it's not a promotion, it might be a big project. They want to know that we're ready to take on the next big thing. But if we're not feeling confident in what we're doing now, we're
Mhm.
not going to be ready.
You're not, yes, you're not gonna be ready to take on what's next, and so why would a company care if you right? So let's think about this,
Right.
right? So, what comes to mind is that I'm here and I stay at this position that I'm still figuring out 5 years later,
Mhm.
right? Because I didn't receive mentorship, support, coaching, whatever I needed to feel confident enough, and kinda had to figure it out on my own, which a
Mhm.
lot of my clients end up doing because they come from backgrounds where asking for help is not okay. It's a sign of weakness, okay?
Yeah.
So, why would a company care?
Because you're 5 years in, but there's a
Mhm.
bitter taste in your mouth that you
Mhm.
have from the last promotion. So
Right.
when your company comes to you and they say, "Somebody is retiring, and we would like you to take over their position when they retire," and
Mhm.
then you say, "No, thank you.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
thank you."
Mhm.
Right? Because why would you put yourself through that again? And at a higher level where there's more stakes, more
Mhm.
more risk, right? So we translate that to there's more at stake, there's more risk. It's going to require more sacrifice and
Yes.
more struggle and more stumbling on my part, right? So if we can have the last promotion be a really good experience for
Mhm.
someone, especially women who companies need women in senior leadership,
Mhm.
right? The benefits, the research has been done, the benefits are known.
Yes.
Companies are struggling and striving to get more women into senior leadership. If they can have each promotion be an amazing experience for women, then women will be more likely to say yes to the next one and to the next one and to the next one, as
Right.
opposed to putting on the brakes and second guessing and just remembering all the bad things that happened the last time.
Right. And then the personal cost, right? So when we're making a decision, right? Like let's say taking on the next level in our career, a role that will require more responsibility, we're looking at okay, so what am I going to have to give up for that?
Yes.
Right? And is it worth it?
Mhm. Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and for a lot of, I would say all people right now, but a lot of women, these last 2 years, it's made us reassess a lot of our priorities and what's important.
Oh, 100%. Like, we can throw out all the terms, the
Yes.
she session, the
Yeah.
Great Recession,
The
the
great.
Great Reshuffle,
Mhm.
right? You know,
Yeah.
I know that affected women and men, but millions of women left the
They
workplace.
left
And
because
it
yeah.
wasn't all because of childcare. Some
Mm.
women left the workplace because they just felt like, "I've had it.
Mhm.
This is not working for me." There are not supports in place for women, you
Mhm.
know? And so coaching can be an incredible, stopgap, I guess, for lack
Yeah.
of a better term. And it's a great support for these women because with my clients, I often find, and I'll say to them, your circumstances may not change, but how you interact with your
Right.
circumstances
Mhm.
will change. And that may make all the difference.
Mhm. Yes, and most of the time that's what ends up happening with
Hmm.
a lot of clients, right? It's just how they show up, how they communicate, all how they feel about it, the mindset, all that is it impacts their experience in a way that they can grow and connect and feel more purpose, like all the things, all the good
Mhm.
things that we want
Yes.
in our days, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so then, on to add to this, I would just add for companies, it's that you have the retention also,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? And it costs companies money to train new people.
tons of money,
Yes.
anywhere from half the annual salary of a
Mhm.
position to 2 times the salary.
Right.
That's expensive.
That's expensive, and then we don't even know if that person's really a good fit. I mean, they have an interview process and everything, and in a way, you're taking a chance on that person, whoever you
Mhm.
choose, and you invest all this time, energy, money the company does to train this individual, and they may not or may not be a good fit. But
Right.
you, they know. They know you, they know your potential, they know all the traits and how you show up. And so it is in their best interest to retain you as in their company.
100%. They definitely wanna keep you, and this is the thing, I remember seeing the statistics years ago, people reporting when they left their jobs. How many people reported that they didn't leave so much the company as they were leaving their boss, right? Because they
Mhm.
had a bad boss, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, if people will leave a company because of their boss, they'll also stay. Right?
Yeah.
And anecdotally, I know people in my life who stuck with a company because they really like their boss. They really
Mhm.
like their coworkers. And if you are a great leader, your team will love working for you. Not only will they retain you, but they will also, through you, retain more employees reporting up to you. Right? So
Right.
that's a huge benefit to the company as well.
Right. Yes, because if you don't show up as a leader that people that wanna work with, then they may leave too.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's part of the reason why I love working with leaders because leaders have a ripple effect,
Mhm. Yes.
right? They are causing change, they are having an impact. I mean, everyone at a company has an impact, but with leaders, it becomes exponential.
It's an extra.
The impact that they
Mhm.
have, right? So having support for the leaders of a company is incredibly important because um their leadership will ripple out through the company and make a big difference to company culture.
Yes, that's right. And then, um, I mean, I'm sure we could talk about this for a really long time and continue to
And
talk
swap
about benefits.
stories,
Yes,
yes.
all these stories. And I think that there's a point, where it's like, okay, people have enough to get started, right? So just to wrap up this conversation, is there any other things you want to make sure and communicate about asking your company to sponsor you for coaching?
I have a checklist that will
Mhm.
help people go through all of these steps. I can put that in the comments so that people can access
Yes.
that. But I would also encourage anyone who is listening to our conversation to reach out to you, Kavita, to reach out to me, to have that quick conversation, because what I find is, um, a lot of times it's not that we don't know what to do, right? You and I have gone through the steps. Here are the steps you go through to have this conversation. What holds us up is mindset,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I know from experience a quick conversation with you, a quick conversation with me, we can help somebody like get clear on what they want to say and give them a perspective that helps to make that conversation easy. I often, I see it in my own life. Like whenever I'm hesitating or dragging my feet on something, like I'll stop and, kind of do some self-coaching, like, "What's going on here? What am I telling myself? What do
Right.
I think is gonna happen?" Right? Because it's what we imagine is gonna happen. It's like any quote unquote "hard conversation."
Right.
We avoid them because in our mind, we're like, "Oh, it's not gonna go well. They're gonna
Mhm.
get mad. This
This is
is
what's
gonna."
gonna happen. Yeah.
Yes, things are gonna get weird, or this is gonna hurt our relationship, or I'm gonna hear no, that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
all the meaning that we attach to all of that, that holds us back more than, I don't know what to do.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Usually, I don't know what to do is not true.
Yes. Right. Or,
Most of the
even if
time.
it's true, it's easy to figure out.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
If you don't know what to do, go back. You and I have, like, outlined the steps. I have a checklist, that sort of thing, but if you're still hesitating,
Mhm.
there's something else going on.
There's something else, yes. Okay, love that. Thank you, and that checklist sounds amazing,
Yeah.
right? Because sometimes a person doesn't know, "Okay, what do I do?" Yeah, I can talk to my manager, but just having something there like, "Oh, these are the steps that I need to
Right.
take," right?
Yes.
That
I
would be
know
so helpful.
I feel more empowered and I feel confident when
Mhm.
there's a checklist and, like, I have all my ducks in a row. Like, I
Yes.
am ready, right?
Now
Like
I know I'm ready. I know what to do, right?
right,
I know
and
what
then
to
I just
say.
wanna do it, right?
Yeah.
And get it done and have it out there. Yes, so
Mhm. Yes.
that can be incredibly helpful for some of the people who are
Yes, and
listening.
definitely the conversation piece, right? To get you ready for that
Right,
difficult conversation. And difficult is a perception, right? The perception
right,
of it being difficult. So, yes,
right,
changing that kind of mindset of actually this is actually a mutually beneficial thing that I'm asking for,
right,
right?
and I would say even having the conversation has a benefit in and of itself.
Oh, yeah.
Oftentimes, women are overlooked for promotion and opportunities because their leaders didn't know they wanted them.
Yeah, they didn't ask.
They didn't ask. They just put their head down. They were good workers. They
Mhm.
did everything that was expected of them, and they waited and hoped for someone to notice the
Right.
good work that they were doing, right?
Mhm.
So just by having the conversation, just by asking, you're putting yourself on your leader's radar, and they know you're looking for opportunities.
That's right. Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that as well, and thank you for doing this today. I
Yeah,
am
thank
so
you for
excited.
inviting me on. I'm
Yeah.
so honored.
I'm sure so many women will benefit from hearing this,
Mm,
right?
uh,
And maybe, they can pass it on to people that need to hear, right, this. So I think this is a wonderful thing to start that conversation, and just even being able to ask, even if the answer is not now or
mhm.
we don't do that. Well, you did it.
Right,
Yes, you were able to
right.
do that. So
You
just taking those
advocated for
steps, you
yourself, which
advocated
is
for yourself,
huge.
which is a
Mhm.
huge thing to do. So, yes, so thanks again, and, until we next time, right,
Yeah,
everyone, take good care.
and we'll see you
Okay.
in the comments.
See you in the comments. Yes. All right. Bye.